or whatever it is, wherever you are. So we've got... Right. We've got it where it depends on the biome. But the actual generation parameters change over time. So I've still got this thing, which isn't really going to hold up, because that's just the biome layer. We're getting a lot more fine-tuned. So I need to replace just like a base server in Crucible, and then well, I need to define a data structure that represents. I think I've already got something for that, but I've got a couple different names for a couple different things that all sort of affect stuff. Hmm. And I might not want to do object generation at this scale, but it's all run into the same object layers as the placements. Hmm. So right now we are getting. Oh, is this only? No, that's the running state that we copy for each one. And then we've got versions. I think biomes actually was kind of like the old version of this. Right, I need some way to define this up front. Well, so this has to be in our generation options. But I need a data structure. So right now we've got worlds. We've got a override biome layer. If not biome layer, then we just do a basic one. And we'll do an object layer sprite off of that. Oh, so we're actually getting biome generation for time separately in each one. Could possibly save that in the object, but okay, so we've got a special case for you. No, we don't need a name. We do need some data about biome changes. Although I might be able to get that from my object data. This is still a nice backup thing to have. No, wait, did I? No, yeah, MS start, MS end. So this was meant to sort of map back onto these. And this is actually going to turn into a very specific range, although we're defining it by version. So we've got this as kind of static data. Biome generation for time. Right, this is where we need to get stuff into the necessary information into here. And then I like kind of need to redefine worlds. Okay, so this is like specifically just dumping these into here. Mm. So we're specifically doing stuff in ArcAge right now. But what we're doing to that each layer. You do tile updates. Well, really all we care about is visible layers right here. So we're just going to have to be able to, yeah, if update tiles. So that's fine. And this is actually this is actually what's going to update that thing. So what we really want is, we're going to have to refer to this in a couple places. How do we call this? Base layer? Layer group. I don't know. I mean, all of these are defined blank. Then everything dealing with those will come down to, well, I guess uncertainty is still a thing. that we have to be able to select. It's not necessarily a thing that you would select. Or no, actually that's no layer. That might work. So arc age, so this is going to be go through there, if it's a sublayer, if it's update tiles. Base layer by time. Uncertainty, jungle age. There was some specifics to how we did this. And it's going to have to change as we get into versions. So we've got arcs, we've got these, although this much could be kind of worlds. Well, so arc was specifically, as we go through here, we're adding and removing the arc layers, which is probably going to get more expensive over time. It's like I don't want to remove a layer that's, what is an else? So I don't want to just clear it and then re-add. So this is for our overall layer stuff. And then we're saying if we didn't hit some arc, then we consider the rest of these. So that's just setting target layer, except you're doing stuff in a sub. Well, a target layer is just arc layer, right? Well, as far as what we actually put into it. So this is making changes out of base. Yeah, so actually doesn't target layer just become arc.layer? And then we want to do, let's see. So world right now is only this stuff. And we've got so if you have target layer stays nothing, and that would be effectively uncertainty. Which makes me think that I should be treating these almost as pseudo arcs. But this is if we didn't select an arc. Well, no, because does the jungle age should have an end? So we're doing this in base right now. Object keys. We want to look at every layer in our current base layer. No, not you. We're done with you. Layer group. Can we get the list? Actually, I know we can get the list because we did the other iteration. Where was that? Okay, we're done with you. That was update tiles. A whole layer, each layer. Which is probably a group, but we think the things in there are going to be what we're selecting out of. So it's going to look a little bit like this. If it has layer, right, because that was exhausted. Oh yeah, dip, 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 dip. Well, these are the things that necessarily are in here. So it's just, if it's in here, oh, we have to go through all of these and then see. Okay, so first we have to go through here and remove them. And then we have to do something with this. If not map.hasLayer, and where did we get off here? Oh, we missed a world here. Okay, so arc layer. So doubling these up won't hurt us right now. I don't think. There is a point at which we update, like what gets initially added to the map. Oh, I guess I actually count on that function for that. But that's not doing the base layers anymore. Type T is undefined. Alright, what can we, I mean layer, that's not surprising. JSON data. Let source. Yeah, so it didn't like add layer. Oh, maybe we told it to add a null because it was unknown. Base layer by time. So this actually has to say oh, that's right. Oh. What did we call it then? A whole base. And then that should really be this. Okay. So she's got an extra here. Oof, it's so much more expensive. So arcs work. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to make objects optional. Oh, are we just lagged on transitions? Okay, and then server 1 only knows this world. Or big server 2 only knows this world, so it's not actually changing. Because where the conservative changes are good. So now we think that this can all go away. These are still potentially future usable things. Interesting that those seem... Ooh, that's not updating again. This is way old. So in add to map terms, no, that's a different layer. This is going to be spamming itself. Worlds have names at this time. Oh, you know what? We never did. Jungle Edge, yes, that's this time. Go back into here. Go into Jungle Edge, and nothing changes. This was nice feedback, what was visible. All right, map. Leaflet. Tile pane. Oh, maybe they're both on? So you're blank. You shouldn't be doing anything. I do expect multiple layers. So we've got objects and we've got biomes. Tile pane. But I expect the world to be a layered group of the biome and the objects. We seem to have... Okay, there's another tile container. There's a tile container. Yes, unfortunately, it's hard to actually track these things. How about we break this down? Well, I might have to do... some layer tagging here. Let's see, none of that will show up in the DOM tree necessarily. Yeah, class name. Well, this is probably a multi-word thing. Doesn't tell us which biome layer. Point overlay, finger overlay, so it's not as much interest right now. Your control. Your control. All right. Screenshot image layer. So we got our tile layer, layer group. Do layer groups have properties? Yeah, options. Okay, data overlay. Oops, got that on you too. I mean, you're just fade, but Monument overlay. We may have missed some stuff here. Class name. Search overlay. Checker layer. So what I really need is where we are defining our worlds and our arcs. And fractal layers are not even on most of the time. So that's a biome layer. Right, object layer sprite. Object generation options. Okay, create arc biome layer. And then the options is biome generation for time. So this is only like overrides. Huh. Well, I can afford to lose the crisp for now. I only have a seed. I don't have the name for world layers. Which don't have a seed. Well, I can just set options. Biome generation for time. Biome generation options. Oh, this is an immediate return. Well, the default for this okay, oh, this does give it a seed. No, this is class name. I mean, we could probably put a name in there too, but this is something we can see in the DOM as far as what's actually added. And I might want better options for this at some point than just overwriting class name. So this was... didn't get anywhere. Does it return it? And this is not going to be pretty, but... oh, but this is going to be... Biome Plus, and... now this, we could just say gen equals objects oh look, object layer.name. I guess we can't really use that. So I identify the layer name that, or class name. Arc key placement layer is a layer group. Actually, biome generation for time is already doing seed. It doesn't let me distinguish these somewhat. World name. Okay, so that's fine. It's when we go back to here. And then come back this way that we run into trouble. Div map, just controls. Okay, so there's a biome image layer. There's a screenshot image layer, which is off right now. Oh, there is way too many things in here right now. Some of these might have defaulted to... the seed name. There should not be this much stuff in here. You should never have multiple seeds. So I need to identify what I didn't do, I don't think. Yeah, class name a whole base. Oh, layer groups may never get fully added to the map? Okay, well that made that visible, but it didn't remove any of this stuff. And didn't change any oral gen. So we don't have that for you. Oh. Yeah, if that was working properly, that would remove the object layer. Because I don't think I put one on Crucible. So I think the problem is that we might be adding the new layer, but we're not removing the old one. All right, also I needed names on layers to be able to talk about what we're even doing. Kensnul. Add undefined. Oh, class name. Okay. Okay, you joker. Is it like underscore options? You are a layer group. You're a layer group for the world. So maybe the world's layer group didn't get a name. Ah, yep. Yep. Okay, add Jungle Age. That's where we're at. Of course, that might be true for add undefined arcs. Update arcs, biome layer group. Arc dot seed tree string. I don't see any removals here. Arr? Oh, I'm doing map.addLayer. I need to be dealing with the same thing. Which probably means we should be asking about if you have layer. So yes, this never gets any layers. No, this is going to be actually excessive remove to. So I've pretty much just done a. Oh, this is an actual change. So to track changes, I actually kind of do have to do. Oh, but they're implicitly in here because we're iterating them. Target layer. Oh, target layer better be defined. Well, oh, no, because we're asking about an attribute of it. So we're saying we must have hit none. So it was going to go blank for a bit. Okay, remove undefined. I don't think we ever added undefined. Unknown. Yeah. Yeah, this does not perform well. We're doing lots of adds and removes. It tries to bootstrap it when it gets added. Add jungle age, remove jungle age? Hmm? Hmm? I mean, I guess I can do add second, but that bothers me. What? Oh, wait, no. You're a layer. Hmm. Yeah, so this gets called for every time we pass. I probably, which is for every set map time. This almost has to be like a background process. Well, how would I know when we're idle? I could track hits to set map time. No. Yeah, the knowing when we're idle is the tricky part. I guess I could set map time and I want to schedule something, and if a tile update is not scheduled, schedule it. And then if we get a lot of set map times before that can trigger, we'll just update our time and not actually change the base layer. Of course, like anim overlay, arc update tiles, all that depends. It actually kind of depends on base layer by time, which is only called from here, so that would be sort of safe to move. Oh, but that's only called if map. Well, we always call this when we start up the map. But maybe some of this, so this should get re-updated. So every time we set the time, we would like do a set timeout 0. Of course, maybe if that like goes in a queue, then all of the tile updates. No, this would be a cancel and reschedule if it was outstanding set timeout. So this would be more. I guess it's like a submodule. Clear timeout. And then set timeout, map, update task. I mean, really, if we're changing quickly, I don't think we want to do this either. That might almost be too fast. We could resolve that. Yeah, we still get multiple backlogged updates. I mean, maybe it helped a little bit. Yeah. We don't really get like any major carryover past the point where you stop. Now, the problem is as we sort of add timeouts here, we also decrease the like responsiveness of it. So like you can see there's a little bit of perceptible lag there. But I guess given the cost of doing this, that might be acceptable. I guess I could know if one of these was outstanding, and we could try doing the... No, because then we wouldn't have the outstanding one when the next update came in. I mean, I really kind of need to know when like rendering is done and defer updates if there's stuff going on, but that's all managed by Leaflet. So it's kind of hard to know that. All right, well, I wasn't noticing any major benefit. We'll give it... Actually, I don't know that any user events would come in faster than 10 milliseconds. But for really backlogged, maybe. Yeah, that doesn't get us totally backlogged. Okay, we had like one pending update there. However, the thing I did here did kind of mess up my class names. So I might try see about doing like layer.name and... Okay, that's control stuff. So seeing them in the DOM view was kind of nice. So where we're not... Well, this is more like the set options version where we might be overwriting it. Grid layer extend. Grid layer extend. Grid layer extend. Layer group. Oh, but we also wanted to... Now, really, this is going to be a specific... seed eventually. Name checker layer. Biome layer. That's the arc. Arc doesn't really have a name. Biome generation. Okay, so now this is like returning options that might be overriding something. Yeah, set options, layer group. That's biome generation to be overriding something. So that would just go on the options versus, oh, so you want to do the objects ultimately. It's like world.biome layer. Yeah, this is actually where we want. So actually the options isn't that helpful. I mean, it's still in there. If you've got it on the object, then having it here isn't as useful. All right, class name is so it shows up in Element Viewer. So you've got a name, you've got a name. So really what we want is name. For that purpose. Controls. Biome image layer is an object. So really, what we want is that. Oop, not comma. OHAL base. Crucible. Let's just. It's the only name it's got right now. Data overlay is data overlay. You've got an object. You've got an object. There's classes. Now you see this is an arc. or there's biome layer. And layer.name equals and layer.name equals arc biome generation for time. This is options. So that's, you got the main arc layer. I think we got the main world layer. Right. Okay, that got backlogged a little bit. That's an arc, huh? Oh yeah, because we're in arc versions. Add jungle age. Okay. Now those are debugging. Yeah, so that's not performant, but so what did we actually accomplish there? A lot of that was debugging. Okay, so leaflet source we're hopefully done with. It's mostly name debugging. Okay, so yeah, this was really combining to a single like main server layer. That gets managed by time. So that was one of the steps we needed just because we had all this stuff hanging around here. And that solved our, that solved our object generation problem here. Exactly how we would deal with Crucible objects is still an open question. All right, so from this perspective, worlds and arcs are really similar. They might get their data set up a little bit differently. And then we want to work in versions. Now, worlds, I might want to like rename this to like base biomes. So you've got a special thing, you've got a special thing. When we get object data, we add the generation for time. Especially if I had something that was like versions and arcs, well, a arc could straddle multiple game versions. So we might still have an arcs table. That gets used for stuff like this. I mean, anytime there's an update... No, I combined my arcs. So those get compressed. This is a separate file, but it's not necessarily a separate arc. So if we... And what would we call worlds? It's not worlds. Maybe just maps at that point. I'm calling those ages. So maybe that becomes ages. And then versions has to define, and then like worlds or maps or something is kind of the union of the ages and the arcs, and then we can work versions in there. We're going to kind of have to do like a time ordered thing. Or time sorted. Because we could have a map gen change, you know, a minor map gen change like the Bear Caves, possibly in the middle of an arc. If we did an update. Yeah, Bear Caves, Dug Cactus, that kind of thing. And then that would be like a different little world. Yeah, the object layers actually are going to be kind of worlds. So this almost like splits. Or maybe I should call it maps and just make a clean break with world, but... yeah, so that's going to be world. Base layer by time. So we've got ages. Ages, biome maps should be pretty much just that. So I guess you would initially define a world, or a first version of it. Okay, so for sort of backwards compatibility, you're still an array, right? Right. Look at the sign. And then this goes back. And we could go ahead and call that there. It's still kind of age information at this point. Oh, this would be, that's the world, and then, okay, and then they each come back later and get an object layer. So right now we're defining worlds on ages, period. And I think I might want to turn that into like maps, but make sure that doesn't break. Oh, that's right, the server change. I might want to... you should go back to Badlands age, right? 2018-308. That's Arctic. Okay. It must be... maybe server 1 just didn't have life data during that time? Anyway, this will be kind of a good test as we get into versions. Because this version of the world did not have onions or burdock. Or, you know, these trees weren't here. Right, this isn't even biome appropriate. I mean, we're getting, those are swamp trees. I mean, maybe that was just a big bleed over area. Yeah, it's Badlands, okay. Oh. I'm eventually going to, I'm gonna have to have an age thing for, or something, for when the moving objects off biome changed. All right, so we actually kind of got this. We kind of got this. Should probably checkpoint. Now, I mean, world is appropriate. I guess it might be nice as a search term versus map, which gets used elsewhere. So add world objects, interestingly enough, is a thing that happens after object load. Oh, the other thing we wanted to do was to start, because we can do this with arcs now. This will initially be ordered. Update arcs. Okay, so this is kind of updating our arcs data. So this is a thing we're going to have to watch out for exactly where we use this. Arcs data.map. We still probably want an arcs list. And if you ms start ms end, okay, so arcs have key placement and map logs. They have an object layer. Add world objects. Yeah, arcs have a layer. Well, do we manage object layer at all? Well, natural object generation is like merged into the key placement stuff, so that would have to be toggled there. Layer, add layer, because it's just an optional thing. So that might be a little bit of a disconnect. Add world objects, add key placements, add arc placements. Create arc biome, biome generation for time, update arcs. Object overlay pixel. This might be able to move down. So we kind of have this together. It's not an ordering issue. No. Oh, right. We probably lost our map selection, or our server selection, which I think I've been meaning to put in, but... So you have MS start. But you get different kinds of layers, because these things don't have key placement. So right now this is wholesale replacement, which is generally replacing an empty array. Which simplifies things a little bit. Well, there's add arc placements, and there is update arcs. Oh, okay. Update arcs builds that. Hmm. So you do wholesale replacement of that, which is the easy version. If we need to add that to our worlds, maybe I need to keep a. And then what happens with versions, we could have the files come in either order. So that's going to be versions with the object data. And we get versions is going to kind of replace that version of these worlds, because it's going to get split up more. And probably what would go off is like some sort of concat of those two arrays. So what are you? Age worlds? And we probably do have an initial version of this. And then actually equal to is dangerous. And then when we update arcs, we do that to arcs. Actually, where's var arcs? Arc, that's right at the top. So I guess really we should be doing like, well, ages gets defined down there. I guess we can, right, 'cause that's going to be data that's filled in later. I guess properly speaking, this would even be so that that stays the same. Because you are going to be built differently. Oh. Because Jungle Age actually does overlap with like the first arc or two. Yeah. Now it changed pretty quick, but I may have to try and come back and do a special case for you. No, actually, that's an arc that. Oh, actually, no, this is right now. We're coming along and doing this afterwards. Okay, so that gets updated. Do our first version. We update it when we update arcs. And if that works, we can try to update. Okay, you're like all Jungle Age, which actually is not going to be accurate. The screenshot layer version, rather. But I'm currently defining that by version, so. And for whatever reason, the date on server 1 doesn't go back as far. Okay, so that gets us on a add arc placements, fade tall objects. That's a key placement map log thing. That probably applies to my object layer. I mean, I guess I could actually iterate these individually. But no. map log layer. If world dot object it's fine. I could abstract this to an iteration of property names. World.maplog layer. There's a go. Just incomplete change. Oh, but you're not a layer group. Actually, I was looking at all the things that we do with arcs. Only arcs get animated. Currently. Okay, now, versions. Okay, so that's loading that. Right, this is our current hack for biomes. I need to get that into object generation. I also need to have worlds that can actually provide that information. And that is considered map gen information. I should probably have a separate method for it, though. And potentially I could move that out to a load, so... this is going to be like a rebuild of... kind of this. I mean, right now it's just versions, but that gives us some room. So this is an interesting little thing. So we're going to have one for every version. And there's going to be this sort of like co-iteration through ages for the matching time. Actually, does biome generation for time use versions already? No, but it's a hook. So this is going to be like age worlds equals. And then we're also going to have like we're going to have, I mean, age is going to be handy. And as we get to each version, okay, is an ID, a start, and some biome data that we're going to have to do something with. So if ver dot technically this should be a while. If age index less than if it's strictly less than, if it's equal to, then we can say age equals ages, age index. Oh, but if we don't update this, if it's not there, we will never break this condition. And really, we can kind of forestall this, making sure that's always possible. All right, so this is going to end up returning stuff. All right, so you've got a MS start. So we're assigning from age. Oh, and this world, millisecond end, is actually going to be defined by the next version, which is awkward. All right, that can be a post-operation step. So this is an object with age information and version information. This was age. So actually, biome layer should just get passed through in that. But you are actually going to be something else. This is not going to be world.id is the version. And maybe we do something like... Oh, no, that's a biome layer. That's fine. But it does have, we do want it to have an independent existence here. And then in post-process, we actually need two of them. So if we need to be doing two of these things, and we're really going to be updating is one with the next start. Age worlds ms end equals age worlds I plus 1 dot ms start. So for arcs, I actually bumped up the start time. This part doesn't matter that much. It just has to be not there. And hopefully the missing end on the last one won't be a problem. It's kind of like... Well, no, actually, ages did have an MS end. So if we just don't set that, I think it had something. Now, this might lose our very, very first one, which we might want to reset that to 0. We'll see. Okay. Update our, not update arcs. Add world objects. Add world objects goes through age worlds. This is world.name, so if we updated versions with the name, oh, we didn't update world.name. Now we're not actually passing down around any biome stuff here. So that creates these things. Add object. Add world objects. Actually, add world objects does sort of get a freebie in its MS start, which is going to be different for each thing. Well, once we actually get that to use it. Right now, all we do is define different maps, which is going to mean a lot more map changes. And I think I'm going to be like adding and removing. Ooh, I might actually have a order of operations problem here. Oh, age worlds. Oh, maybe where that ended up being defined was not good. Okay, well now you're lying to me. This is a for each, not a map. So you didn't define any objects. Oh, no, that's... Arcs is there. Okay, 49 versions. Very, very basic information. With that, we create a bunch of different things. They have starts, they have ends. Oh. That should almost be minus 1,000. We'll technically leave some gaps depending on how you select your time. I don't think we ever do that. Well, no, some of the other stuff, some of the placements can go down to milliseconds, I think. So 267 does have an MS end. Probably from its parent. Okay. Oh, wait. And now I have objects. I still... I'm not really doing anything with my biome data yet. Alright, was that the console logs, or just waiting for stuff to come in? Okay. Oh, are we possibly before this by some small amount? It's MS. Oh, no, okay, so yeah, the first one is actually like before the beginning of time. That was Jason playing with stuff. And maybe I could let it go back there for kicks. It wouldn't actually be multiple biomes at that time, I think, but so 15202 would fall into Badlands Age 31. So we supposedly went through there. Base layer by time. That's Badlands Age. Oh, I have to reselect my base layer once we get versions and objects. And is it map time? Yes. Map.each layer is not a function. Oh, probably map ms reason. And okay, this is one of the things I was afraid of. But this should have been like Badlands Age such and such. If it somehow resolves to the same thing. Or rather, if a layer includes the same like sublayer, which is where I might actually want to not do this as a single group and add and remove and manage the individual parts of it so that I'm not adding and removing the base layer all the time. But we've not done actual object generation yet. So Y is target layer. Not having a versioned. Well, because now you're just world.name. Although I think we might be doing sub-objects here. Yeah. So generic version, add specific version, specific version. And then we have to move the actual object data or biome data around. Okay, I don't think we need this most of the time. I don't think we need this most of the time. Tracking these might be nice. Does this take care of anything in particular? Doesn't really check anything off the list. Wait, did I go ahead and move that? Okay. It adds to the list, though. Process. World sublayers to reuse common layers. Let's see, define. List of. Let's see, this is world for each. Oh, versions can overlap arcs. That could be a problem. So the perversion stuff doesn't just affect age worlds. Well, I want to see something happening here. It doesn't like to resplit the window. All right, biome generation for time. That just takes a seed. So it's doing this stuff. So we've got our ages. But this also has to apply to arcs. Maybe I need to look at moving this into ages and doing more of a proper arc-age intersection thing. Which unfortunately can come down if I'm trying to split things at every change. It matters what my sort of timestamps for things are. But I guess that would still be the effect of it. Well, no, because we'll pick one set of parameters for each arc right now. We might end up doing some splits. So we have ages, we have versions, and we have arcs. So maybe what I need is a list of ages, a list of arcs, and a list of versions. And we do some sort of 3-element parallel iteration, making a world whenever something changes. Okay, well, the greater than or equals are nice here. I guess arcs have an end, at which point you would go into uncertainty. I'm probably really not handling uncertainty very well right now. And maybe, see, I was defining this, like, well, it depends on versions, so let's actually look at the version to decide what the limits are. Oh, right. If we have this as a data structure, then we can do our parallel iteration. And so I think this wants to extend ages. Now, ages, we're defining worlds, but things might be messy while we work through that. There are ages. Oh, I was defining these by MSN. Oh, right, you just had the 0. So these get some biome parameters. Actually, I probably need that to be an object. Because that's going to get thrown into the layer options. And then Arctic age you've already kind of got. Now, properly speaking, these should all be the, well, okay, they're just the specifics. The layer takes care of the generic stuff. All right, Arctic age, desert age, jungle age, or no, actually, this is biome and object generation. Well, it will be generation. It will apply to both. And then now we're going to have to include these. Which don't themselves have definitions? Because it depends on the arcs to get the seed. It was a random age, a Right. Oh, so actually, well, let's get some of this set up. I might need some random age stuff here. You may not have a biome layer, not a predefined one anyway. Oh, right, because topic says random age would still be jungle age, just with the unknown seed. And it was just forever and ever after that. We have no time for you. Oh, I had seed in here. Which these actually have no opinion on. And that will have to be, because that will just be default. Get into arcs, they're going to be a little bit of an issue. This could be another place where a post-iteration loop would be nice here. You have no predefined biome layer. Oh, you need your own options. All right, so that will already be able to intersect with versions. The biome generation for time. Could use that. Oh, I guess I'm not really using name anymore, huh? Could use the ages table. To give us a crutch, but it's going to be the same results. Well, until we need to actually do stuff with it. So that's using the time. We've already selected an age here, which is our sole determiner at the moment. And ages have no seeds. World.ms start, add world objects. So this should just be... Don't use you twice. because we're not passing a CDU for this. So we don't have to do any updates for that. Okay, arcs are still dependent on a time factor. An arc biome layer. Okay, biome layer and key placement layer and map log layer. I'm going to start a topographic age. I must have misspelled it. Topographic. No, graphic. Graphic. Didn't save. Okay, still no actual version data. What do we have in version data? We have biomes. Biomes is a brand new... It's a list of the biomes. I might want to move some of the biome information into there. So biome generation options. So the problem here is we've got biomes as this thing. Which is the thing that needs to be defined. No, this is only for object generation. Oh, this is object generation. No, overwrite biomes for the sort of fallback. Key placement sprite. So this is a layer option we need to set. Anytime we do an object pixel, which you haven't been set yet. We've got object overlay pixel, so. And object overlay sprite. No, object layer sprite. Add world objects, world generation. Generation is those parameters. Biomes is a subfield of that. So when we do update versions, we've been getting that from age.generation. And so world.generation is going to be, we need a new object. Object layer. Okay, that's the only direct one, but then like key placement will also need this, which as a stand-in that has a bunch of different stuff. Assuming that these have actually been downloaded at this point. Okay, that is definitely not missing onions. So let's try to take the layer we add. So what do we need? It's going to be a layer. It's not going to be an object. We're going to pick this one, though. Okay, biomes 4. Biome map. Default everything. You are... I don't have names on these. Total chance weight 13. $805. No. There's 630. Bear Cave, maybe? So why are you drawing a spring onion? This might be something where I have to, like, refresh. But this should be a brand new object generator. Oh, but I haven't gone and actually used it. I put it into the structures. So this is options.biomes. Wait, let's update arcs. I mean, this will still be true to an extent. That's a stand-in right now. Oh. Hey. I don't know if well, if I played this, it was so long ago I wouldn't remember, but... Wow, look at all that iron. Lost Era. I'm not sure there were iron mines at this point. Oh, I haven't fixed spring grid objects. Because I like removed them from the list. Oh, there was a note for you. So I've just been removing them from the biome list, but they actually are relevant in a true-false or in a Boolean sense. And that was it. Actually, well, so everyone doesn't go back that far. Yep. And then server 3. Yeah, the base map would help a little bit. Okay, there's the onions, potatoes. And there's our jungle map, which needs to get turned off when it's irrelevant. And then arcs might be completely messed up right now. Well, not completely. They're just not accurate. Okay, this is sort of done. But we have to do... we have to do this for arcs. Actually, that's kind of this. Now, we've got a lot of consoles right now. This is mostly in base layer by time. And we're up here now. Now, this is something where we definitely know that it's a different world, or that it doesn't have certain things now. There's the 1, 0. Yeah. Now springs, well, they're kind of a minor thing, but let's see. Okay, so version specific object generation. Kind of whip for all the stuff we've got going on. Okay. Right now I'm defining this by version number. It could be resolved back to a time. Which would work nicely with what we've got. That's relatively minor. It just comes down to defining some manual ages, I think. All right, so spring grid. Well, that's definitely kind of a sore thumb. But okay, so we've got worlds that is the co-iteration of versions and ages. At some point, we kind of need to make that whole thing a co-iteration also of arcs. And what's awkward is that depends on 2 data files that will come in asynchronously. You'd kind of like to be able to do things without both of them, but the straight up version of that will just redefine everything when you get either of them. I guess I could have some sort of like parallel object, or I could come up with age version arc start Or like age version seed. Not all are exchange seed. Although if it didn't change age, version, or seed, from a world perspective, is it really different? All right, well, I either need a water break or maybe that's a big enough problem. That we want to leave that. Well, okay, so maybe we can do a smaller problem. Interesting, okay. That was a... no, it's just a grid placement. Yeah, so we only have one level of grid placements. Get base map. Yeah, so this has to be an options thing too. What do we have? Yeah, map gen. Now, this has changed. The spacing has changed on occasion. I'm ignoring that right now. So this is setting permitted biomes. But it's not updating biome objects. Yeah, so grid placement's like a separate thing. But this has to be like biome.grid placements. Well, that would reverse the permitted biomes thing. Of course, the code we're going to have for this is grid objects, which do a picked biome and like override all of this other stuff if it's there. Because yeah, biomes is a list. Yeah, so this code does the density first before doing this expensive compute map biome index. So I guess grid placements has to be an option separate from the biome list? Or the biome objects? Oh, no, we've got... yeah, you think, okay, we've got a biome. Is there a grid there? But you want to save the biome calculation if you can. So that means it has to be more of a top-level property. How do we manage this? So this will tell you which things are grid placeable. The permitted biomes changed over time. Right, because it was a change, so we just do a wholesale replacement, but that's in that version. So biome, biome, biome. Biome state. Biomes. So this is going to be like version grid placements. Which is biome state. What are we actually getting here? We're getting name ID spacing, which, I mean, that does change, but we don't have that in our list right now. Permitted biomes, this is when it changes. So we have grid placements here. Which actually, we've kind of got this being updated. Oh, but grid placement state is actually none at first. So grid placements itself is an array. It gets a state when we get a change with it. Maybe we treat it as invalid while permitted biomes is 0. That would be a filter on each step. So if it starts out as this, permitted biomes none. Actually, that might work. But it's not just a return then. I mean, biome state, not a big deal. Biome state for each. We do need to track if this was a grid placement object to skip other stuff. Hey, Beg Prince. Yeah, I mean, part of the app is Elm, but a lot of the leaflet interface and drawing stuff is JavaScript, and that kind of ends up meaning it does a lot of data juggling. I guess some of this could be moved up to Elm for this like sort of age definition stuff and then pushed down. Maybe that would give me a cleaner interface to some things. But the UI stuff doesn't otherwise need it. So there's a game called 1 Hour 1 Life, and I sometimes wanted to kind of look back on where I was, try and figure out what happened to my family. So I've been playing around with mapping stuff. It started out with just these biome patterns, and what I'm working on now is getting this object placement generation. But it changed over time, which is making things a little bit more complicated. So I'm working on right now is there's these springs that are in certain locations. As for the other stuff, if we start kind of going through time, you'll see that this was a dirt pile, and then we added these onions. So they start to show up. So now I'm trying to figure out, like right now I've got these defined like as a global thing, so I need to move the spring definitions into the version specific data. Which means I can't just short circuit that anymore. And think of the follow. Objects blank, that's fine. Let's see, if this thing became a grid placement here, well, I can't deal with changes in grid placement status right now. Because I only have one version of the name. I don't think that ever really changed. Maybe there was a version before grid placement. I have to look at the history for that. Okay, that's biome state. We avoid changing that there. Okay, so you actually had some ID stuff going on. I do need a filter will do that. So I do need to make a new object for you though. Although I probably only need like ID and spacing in practice. No, permitted biomes actually comes into that. So it's not that much. Biome snapshot. Grid placement snapshot equals grid placements dot filter by function. Return placement dot it's permitted biomes. And then for those, we pretty much just need to clone the thing. Permitted biomes is the only thing that really changes, and it gets wholesale replaced. As long as we get a copy of the object. This doesn't actually change very often, so we're kind of creating a bunch of arrays, but we have to guarantee they're unique. All right, now, this is a global variable right now, which we sort of need as master data. This thing, well, it has to be in the data first. This only affects object generation, not biome generation. Okay, now, that's in the options. If I... This is going to be like Biomes, biomes. Grid placements. Oh, well, okay. I took that out. Does it put it back? Okay, well, that's an image. That's not entirely fair. But, oh, it does not put it back. That's the blurry one on the, oh, because right, there were points in this where these images don't quite apply. So that seems to be accurate. It also changed when it first appeared, which biomes it appeared in. No, that one's correct. I think jungle specifically, which it was not in here at first. All right, there might, I need to cut off the screenshots at some point. Oh, yep. Biome generation said it existed, and then, maybe not jungle. Now, I think there may have been some small changes in Spring Grid, but it was a pretty tight period of time. So I'm kind of ignoring that right now. Version specific grid placements. White object blocking might. Have I done that yet? No. Maybe I could spot. So this is something that only, well, my algorithm is not correct right now. So if we go to somewhere around like the proper time of these screenshots, over in the mountains. Oh, I have, this should be time accurate data. I didn't fix this layer. That may never be correct. I just have to see if I can spot. Because the bear caves are supposed to have a blocking radius. I suppose this will give me grid information. What tile are they in? Well, I mean, this is probably this tile. Well, it seems like the bear kind of appears here when you do the bear. Uh-oh. 498. Oops. Did I pass a bad time somewhere? Maybe I passed a period of uncertainty? What would be a dummy value from this? So it looks like 0 is a nothing. Yeah, so I'm uncertain where this thing sits in the grid. Seems like it's probably here. But I think in more recent times I've seen like a mine there. So my algorithm does not implement wide object blocking right now. So I guess what I'd be looking for would be, well, since I've got this thing, it would be like a blurry, oh, I need to kind of like fade out my object layers. Object layer sprite. This is the overlay. Well, util.set options. Well, I'm not complaining about that, but it's also not doing what I want. Oh, wait, that needs object layer. It's not a method. That might be too faded here. Yeah, it also makes it hard to see what I'm generating. Actually, I kind of need. How about, can we do. I don't think you implement offset, but this is kind of what we need. Yeah, so it's like that one's clear. But this is in the image, so it's not at variance with the blocking radius. That seems to be in the image too. This might be one I have to revisit when I can run some data comparisons. Another wide object too close. Oh, another wide object too close. So this is only bear caves blocking bear caves. Okay. So that's not necessarily going to be visible. Well, I can see that it's two oranges. That's a different object. It's a different object. Yeah, it's not that it blocks any object, it's that it blocks other wide objects. I mean, I can do a straight up re-implementation of it, but I'd like to have a test case. I mean, that's a nice dense bear area. And you obviously see we get trees next to each other. So it can put things next to each other. Maybe I need to look up the ID for Bear Cave. And try to get something that generates that. Or try to find a programmatic search. Which once again turns into a bigger project than just implementing an algorithm. Yeah, definitely objects there, but you're just not rolling bear caves. Oh. Maybe I wouldn't even see a bear cave in the image because they would mutually block each other. Where's my home spot here? So I might need to do something to like highlight that an ID. So you have like just two yellow spots. That weren't able to actually become bear caves. Now, where is this get tweaked base map? Just return 0. Yeah, I might need at least a highlighter and then maybe a check for where I could possibly generate, or like just a thing that runs forever and ever and ever until it finds a location where it would have generated two bear caves next to each other. Or I guess if I just, oh, found one. Pff. All right, so he has wide as a shorthand. Okay, get base map. We have object bounds, which we don't worry about those changing right now. And that I've been lazy and just treated as an array. Oh, that's the blocking radius is probably in my change data anyway. But that means I can't do a straight up object lookup. Well, I mean, that. Can't just do a get object on it. If I identify. Then I need left and right blocking radius. I just did IDs, or a list of object IDs you could do index of. And we have to look up that one. Biome objects change equals change. Oh, but then we wash this out. And we do U. No, do we? Yeah, object.values. do I do anything to these as we... Change.id, change.wide equals change left, blocking okay. And then biome is a thing that gets passed down to that. Oh, this is biome specific data though. I really only care about this at the version level. Biome snapshot. That's a map. Biome state. Biome.objects. So actually objects have a list of biomes. Change.biomes. So there is maybe, yeah, I don't have an object state right now. And that's going to be a common property. And this doesn't care about what biome we're in. But this is potentially versioned. Change.biomes, map chance. I guess they're still removed, but this is just kind of last data about it. As long as we can look up the information as of that version. This is mainly for the wide radius stuff. I do need to maintain it as a lookup table though. I guess I could still use object.keys. It's not a map though. I can use this. Object state ID. Actually, I guess I only need wide here. No, you are not equals now. We're doing object style. And then we have, I guess, version objects. So biomes, grid placements. I'm starting to need a generation thing in my version. Okay, this was, we looked at wide. Okay, so he kind of did it that way. This is a return. So short circuit. Okay. Max wide radius is a thing I don't have. That's probably from Object Bank. It's just, yep, blocking radius. R wide. I'm pretty sure bear caves are 1 and 1. Wait, left blocking radius plus max radius. Oh, how far we have to look for other possible objects. Okay, yeah, not equal to 0. NID equals get base map, not caring about grid. Another object. If you're wide, so this is all right. Left blocking radius, left blocking radius. Right blocking, left blocking, left blocking, right blocking. And it does specifically matter which side it's on for that. Use left or right. No, right. Plus the left. Left. Change to be right. Yep. Okay, not too surprising with all that. This expression got greater than. Oh, copying too much syntax. And again. For assignment, undeclared variable did. Yep. Arguably, that should be declared outside and then assigned, but oh, that blocked all bear caves. Or at least ones that are next to any object. No, that was a bunch of them. Oh, I didn't do my. It's blocking with itself. How about we do index plus dx? Hey, it's a bear cave plus a bear cave. How about that? Nope. That didn't do it. And we're actually doing different objects. Okay, so 630 with 674 with 0. And this is telling me that, did I result? Too much copying. No is undefined. Right. Because we only have the sparse objects here. Okay. No double bear caves. I'm actually surprised they didn't get blocked by tall object, but distance 1 to distance 1. Okay, there's actually a couple. Well, it's going to be a pair, but there are a couple in our generation area here. Or we might have like bio. Yeah, there's only one thing running right now, but we've got white objects. Maybe there's some other stuff I've missed, but all right, we had to do some pixel debugging. I have to think about how I could do a more generic pixel layer there. And then wide object blocking. Okay. Slowly, still got the messy parts of versions, optimization. There's going to be periods of uncertainty, which probably at the very start of random age. The screenshot isn't always valid. And that will hopefully deal with some of this stuff if we do this. You know, I thought it was almost done, and like the basic generation algorithm was actually only a small piece of it. Now we've got to integrate that with everything else we got going on. Anyway, it's plenty lunchtime for me. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who hosted me. What do we got? This is about when I'm usually on. All right, not a whole lot. Of code. How about when playing Smosh is not included, parts of that are almost like programming. So if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, Marrow 42 is playing some Oxygen Not Included right now. I don't know exactly what problems he's dealing with right now. But yeah, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye until next time.